Hey, welcome back to Still Can't Cook. I am your host, Kelley Fahey. Thank you for coming back. If you've seen me before, and if you haven't, welcome. You have a lot to learn, so much to tell you. So this week I want to talk about a couple of things. There's been a few things, it's not so much annoying me as things that I'm just trying to work through. So one of them is gossip. Like, when is it gossip and when is it information that you want to share with your friends? I think one of the things about gossip that's so funny is that it's primarily, I believe, among chicks. I don't know if that's like sexist thing to say because I'm sure guys gossip too, but I think primarily girlfriends gossip, or I don't know. I have more girlfriends than I have guy friends, so maybe it's just me. But I'm wondering, like, when you call one friend and talk about another friend and get in the business, is that gossiping as much, or does gossip only allude to you not knowing someone? Like, oh, I heard the girl down the hall kind of thing. Like, I need to know where gossip is and where chit-chatting, sharing information about each other, because I'm doing all this self-help shit that's not really helping, but where it says gossip is a bad thing. Like, everyone says that you should not gossip. Like, don't listen to the news before you go to sleep. Don't listen to, like, fall asleep to, like, death and murder because it gets in your psyche. And you're also not supposed to gossip. So I'm trying to figure out what part of my conversations are gossip and what part is just the sharing of information. And I probably am going to end up really, really quiet a lot because it's going to be most of the time gossip is what I'm going to hear back. I believe for me, so this is going to be my definition of gossip, because this morning I was doing this manifesting my gratitude and being grateful and thankful and I am quotes and all this shit. And it said, don't gossip. I will not gossip. So I need to understand what part of my daily conversations is actually gossip and what part is just sharing information. Or do those two things fall in? I think if you're sharing information someone asked you not to share, that would fall into the gossip part. I don't typically do that. I don't know. What do you think? Which is gossip? Which is just sharing thoughts? I'm wondering what you're thinking about that. So that's one of the things I'm thinking about. And then the other thing, allowing something to happen or forcing something to happen, right? So there's this thing, like when I know something is definite, like I'm really good at manifesting stuff. Like my girlfriend Yadira would tell you, I was spending money I didn't have for years, because I was like, it's gonna come. I always knew it was gonna come. I knew that my apartment lease was gonna come in. I had no question. And people say, like, if you plant a seed, right? You plant the seed, you water it, you don't keep checking, you don't keep looking to see if the plant grew. So with on again, off again, I can't let it just happen. I feel like there's something I gotta do to control it. So today I overtext, which is a whole other topic, which would have been the third topic, because I don't understand over-explaining, needing to be understood, or being annoying and being one of those fuck people who overtext. And I think I definitely would fall in the category of overtexting. But also that means I'm forcing it. So what I'm wondering is how I take this manifesting all the things easily, know that's gonna come, and put that towards that one specific thing, like a relationship. There's something I'm so secure in so many other things. Like, I knew I wasn't moving next month. Long story short, my apartment lease was gonna be ending, and I just said, I don't see that happening. I know I'm staying here. This is my apartment. I wanna buy this apartment. That's my long-term goal. But I didn't fear it. I put it out there, I gave it to the universe, and I was like, I know I'm not leaving. Why can't I text this man and leave it and know that at some point he's going to respond? I then spin the fuck out. 25 times I write, then I have to go back and then I delete it all like a psychopath, which he basically pointed out, like, stop deleting the shit you write, like, trust yourself. Do you know how condescending it is to be told by someone to trust yourself when you're begging them for their attention? Anyway, so over texting, I need to understand gossip and manifesting versus forcing. So these are things that have been on my mind, things I'm working on. I think I'm really good at manifesting. I think I have to be a little bit more secure in the relationship factor of my house, right? I have my financial house, my work house, my friends. I got that down, like, I'm good. I got that all down pat, I guess. But with the relationship side of it, I get so fucking insecure. And then I tend to overtext. And you know what, another thing with the texting, or with this specific relationship, and I found myself doing it and I'm not doing it anymore, is I tell things that haven't even been asked. Like, I will say, so I'm doing this today and then I'm going here and then I went to the doctor. I'm like, he hasn't even said, how are you? He knows what fucking color panties I have on right now, but he hasn't even said, how are you in 2 weeks? So maybe I should stop oversharing. Manifest the shit out of that. Let me see how that works. I gotta figure out how to just let that go and let things, I'm really good at letting things go when I trust that it's happening. So I need to figure out where I lost myself or my self-esteem possible. Oh, look, that's a big one. My therapist will love this. What happened that I am at this weird place where I am over texting and over analyzing and freaking out? I say constantly things go exactly as it's supposed to go. So why don't I trust that this is going to be exactly what it's supposed to be? And I remember when we first broke up that I was so happy in the silence. I was literally dancing around to Depeche Mode. I'm like, I'm going to really appreciate this because I know he's coming back. It's like you can't really freak out when it's snowing because you know eventually you're going to have a warm day. I don't know how come I don't realize that eventually he and I are going to have a warm day. I just don't ever feel okay when things aren't right with us. Anyway, circle back to him, always circle back to him. So in that, we're going back to like the insecurities thing. One of the things I think is part of my overall who I am on a daily basis is my place in my family, you know? I'm the youngest of 4. And it doesn't matter how things have changed or our lives have gone. And in my head, they're always going to be cooler than me. They did everything before I did it. So my brother had the bar, I've talked about it before, a bar called Peggy Sue's. And at the door of Peggy Sue's, people would come up and then they'd ask for my brother or my sister. And I would say, oh, that's my brother or my sister. And more than once, I've heard people go, oh, I didn't know they had another sister. And of course, it's not my siblings' fault, but you know, there was an age difference, not much between my sister and I. I think it's 3 years sometimes and 2 years other times. But then there's 10 years between my eldest brother and myself and 9 between my other brother. You know, when you're 7 and they're 17, that's a big age difference. And I guess 7 and 11 is a big age difference too. Did I do that math? 8, 9, 10, 11? No, I did that way more. 7 and 10. Can't really add. But when we got older and we were at Peggy Sue's, it was kind of clear that there was a very specific dynamic in the family. And I was the least cool. I didn't go to all the cool parties, didn't have the cool friends. But then as life went on, you know, my friends, their friends are great too, but my friends kind of skyrocketed, some of them, to to be the people that come up on every one of my fucking podcasts. And I think it's funny though, because no matter what I'm doing in a conversation with my family, that dynamic still remains exactly the same for me. Like I'm still coming in hoping that they find me interesting or hoping that they think I'm cool or they involve me. It's a very strange, it's always in there. So I think that maybe that plays into my relationship part. I don't know, there's an insecurity on the roles in the family. And there's something about like why their stuff is always more important in my life than my stuff is in my life. I mean, my therapist has got her fucking hands full. But I'm just wondering if in people's families, if dynamics changes, if it's just mine. I think that they would probably, well, maybe one day we can have them all on. I have all 3 of my siblings on. That should be interesting. And end with the police escort. I wonder what they would think. Like, did I outgrow the little sister role? Because in my head, I haven't. I've gotten better at it. Like I remember at one point my brother said, my God, you're so aggressive. And I was like, because I come into every fucking conversation, I gotta protect myself and be ready for the fight. And then it was like, what? No, I don't. I guess if I don't come in ready to fight, maybe we're not gonna fight. So it's trying to just figure out on this crazy journey of life. Like no matter, at 53 years old, I still feel like a fucking 10-year-old when he says or does, especially my older brother, he'll say things that just little tiny things that I'm like, and even when I'll call my other brother, and poor other brother doesn't know what to do. We all kind of call Philip. And he's like, doesn't want to deal with anything. Poor guy's sober. The rest of us can go pour a drink and be like, I know what that, Phil's got to deal with all of our shit without any outlet. But that's why he usually blows all of it off. But it's funny because it still gets under my skin in a way that it did when I was a kid. So I'm trying to work that out. And I think that some of the shit about on again, off again brings up the childhood stuff. The not being the cool one, not being good, not being the one that they choose. I'm firing my therapist. I'm discovering all this stuff. I just fixed myself right here on air. I'm currently fixed. So yeah, you rode that wave with me. But anyway, I want to know what you guys think. Like, how do you feel in your family? Do you think if you're the eldest, you always have that role and that younger siblings feel that way about you? Because I definitely feel that way about my dog is snoring. Again, I know you guys do not hear it, but I have that misophonia. That's definitely not how you say it. I think it maybe is misophonia, where noises make me nuts. So my dog is snoring and it throws me right off my game. He's being carried away right now like a sick dog by my house. He's being carted off to doggy punishment. Anyway, those are the things I wanted to talk to you about today. And being that I've been talking about my childhood, one of the most important people in my life is my guest today. And I don't want her to get her head all fat because she won't fit through the door on the way out. If I say the things I really want to say about her, it'll just get right to her head and she'll be all conceited and her ego will just go through the roof. So I won't say all the nice things. But one of the most important relationships of my life is Deanna Hegarty now, but Deanna Savage in my head forever and ever. My best friend since we're 6 and 7 or 5 or 6. I discussed her in a previous podcast. You should go back and see it because the story is really interesting. But I do have Deanna here today, and I'm really excited to have her because she's been part of my life, my whole life, as long as I can remember. So I just want to welcome my friend Deanna, my best friend in the world, Deanna, to Still Can't Cook. She's here now. She's really happy to be here. So excited. She was snoring through my intro. I thought it was Oliver. My poor dog got dragged out of the room, and I looked over, and my best friend was asleep on the chair. Hi.
Hi.
So say hello to everybody.
Hello, everybody. I'm so happy to be here with my bestie.
She's so not happy to be here. I definitely forced this on her.
She dragged me.
Dragged her from Jersey, kicking and screaming.
Yep.
So in a previous episode, I discussed how we met. And it doesn't matter what your version is because it's my show. No, I'm kidding. I want to know your version of how we met. Do you remember how we met, meeting me?
We met at dancing school.
If you don't get, if that's your fucking story.
We met at dancing school.
She's not this
Tap,
woman.
jazz, and ballet. And you used to have your tight ponytails.
I sure did.
With your extra little ponytails that grew down here.
All right, listen. That's not going to tear apart my hairline.
And you were so many freckles.
So
and
many
you were
freckles.
so cute.
Thank you.
And you were like this little, like, feisty, like, tough little... And you were just, like, tons of energy and always, like, you know, it's funny. I'm thinking about it now. And I feel like you always had, like, some story to tell. You were always telling stories about something.
I was always telling stories about something.
Yeah.
So here's the question. Are my stories gossip or are they information? We're bringing it right back. Did you even know you were bringing it back to the gossip situation? So was I a gossipy girl or was I just a talky...
No. I would not say it was gossip, especially back then when we were 6 and 7. It was more just talking. You were always telling stories about your day, your family, your sister, your brother, your mom, your dad.
Yeah.
Like, you embellish things, like your Smurf house.
It's another word for liar. It's another word for I was a big fat liar.
That's one of my first memories of you is your Smurf house.
The non-existent
Yes.
Smurf house?
Yes.
So wait, tell it. How did it go for you?
Do you want me to tell this story?
Yeah, tell the story. I'm probably not going to want to tell the story.
Okay.
And I have the power of editing.
So I don't know if it was because you thought that I had something more than you.
They definitely do. Everyone thought you were rich.
Which I wasn't at all.
But you were wearing fucking Chanel at 6.
No, I wasn't.
In my head, you were.
wearing Chanel. I just wasn't wearing gold diggers.
And if you don't know what a gold digger is, please put the pop-up
They're
in.
jeans from Sears.
My nana used to say gold diggers and Jordans.
Yeah. And I was
Those
jealous.
Jordans.
I wanted gold diggers. Because I just wanted to look like everybody else.
You learned quickly that was not what you wanted, but go ahead.
Right.
Go ahead.
But the first time I met you, well, not the first time I met you, but one of my earliest memories of you was you telling me that you had this very elaborate Smurf house.
Oh my God,
and
I
it
can
had
see
like
it.
it had like a whole like lands. Like you made it sound like it was so amazing, and I was like, I gotta see the Smurf house, and I kept saying like, I want to see the Smurf house. I want to see the Smurf house, and then
what the fuck is wrong?
Eventually, one day you went and like picked it up or brought it over or something, and it was like this tiny.
and the roof opened.
Yeah, it just opened up. It was like this little, and I was like, that's it.
But you know what? Here's what.
I mean, it was cute.
No, guess what? I lived in 700 square foot, so for me, that was a huge Smurf house. Because comparatively, they were in a fucking mansion. Now that I realize my house was 700 square foot growing up.
Can we talk about that? Because I did not feel like it was 700 square feet.
Is that bananas?
Like when you grew up and moved up to the attic when you were a teenager. I mean, that attic to me was like the lap of luxury.
I was a rich person in the Smurf house.
Oh my God.
I know. We had a gray.
It was lavish up there.
Oh God. Well, it's exactly. I just went home. It's exactly the same. It's exactly the same, and you can only walk in certain areas because it's on an angle.
Oh yeah.
And the staircase is rickety, and it was an attic, and that was like a big.
But it was amazing.
It was amazing.
Yeah, it was like a Greg Brady.
Oh my
attic.
God.
It was amazing. I loved it.
You just aged us so much by calling him the Greg. When Greg Brady got his own room, right?
Yeah.
Oh my God, I remember that.
Yeah.
And then Peter and had the bunk beds. Peter and what's the little kid's name?
Bobby.
Peter and Bobby.
I
Bobby.
mean.
Yeah, Bobby. Pandora. Remember the cat?
Yeah.
Pandora got stuck in the fire. Pandora the cat, and he was a safety guard. That was
we watched
really
a
sad.
lot of TV.
I watched a lot of TV.
We watched unrestricted amounts of
because
TV.
our parents were gone. That's why
They were always out working.
Always out working. I was like a latchkey kid. I don't even know what a latchkey kid was.
Yeah.
But I was
We were all
spoiled.
latchkey kids.
But it was like weird. My nana would pick me up. I would get Burger King for lunch. Like I got, the half-day Wednesdays. And
I think you ultimately had more family around than I did, for sure.
Yeah.
I had my grandmother always around when I was little.
Yeah.
And then by the time...
And your grandfather was there too.
Yeah. He was checked out, but yeah.
So I talk about it, about when her and I first met. Deanna's mom spoke Spanish, was born in Argentina, but her parents came from Russia and Poland. So Deanna's abuelita and abuelo weren't Spanish by descent, but spoke Spanish.
Yeah.
And your grandmother would speak Yiddish and Spanish.
They spoke Yiddish,
They spoke Yiddish as well. And they would speak to me in Yiddish and Spanish. And it was just such a first person I've ever met that spoke another language and also spoke English, which made you brilliant to me. But I just remember I remember them being around, and I remember never understanding what was being said ever.
Right.
And then
they didn't speak any English.
Do you remember when she forced me to eat the gefilte fish?
The gefilte fish?
Yeah, she kept saying I was too skinny, and she made me eat gefilte fish, which anyone's not had it. It's disgusting.
Yeah, I don't like it.
It's really disgusting.
It was gelatinous.
It was gelatinous.
Yeah.
And that word itself, gelatinous, first of all, great word.
Yeah.
Gelatinous.
Yeah, I didn't like it.
Yeah, well, she forced it on me, but I was afraid to say no to her because she was a little abrupt.
Yeah.
Yeah, she wasn't the softest of people.
Yeah, my whole family was belligerent. They were just brutal.
When your mother was mad at you or she was mad at somebody, boy, I never felt as trashy in my life than I did when she looked at me in the wrong way.
She made me feel like that too, and I was her daughter.
She did it to you more than she did it to me.
Yeah.
At one point, at least, she switched her up. I won her back at some point. At some point, I was like the cool friend that came to save you.
Yes, because I became a dirty hippie for a little while.
That's right. You liked
I went
rock
through
and
my
smoked
dirty
pot.
hippie phase.
Yeah. She listened to like rock and followed the Dead, and she went from her designer clothes to like Levi's and T-shirts. Or Lee, even. You might even.
No, I didn't. I don't think I wore Lee.
Okay, but I love that you stopped me there. She's like, yeah, smoke pot was a dirty. I would never put on a Lee.
Never put on Lee jeans. I wore like gauze and stuff like that.
Wait, can I do that again? Do it with your whole
gauze.
She just vibed it. She just
I was, hippie chick.
Yes, I remember. And her mom called me. Oddly, her mother called me. We weren't in our teens at this point, early 20s or late teens.
No, teens.
Late teens. And her mother was like, "You have to come." Deanna's like killing herself, or Deanna's like doing all the wrong things. And I showed up and I was like, she was just listening to like the Dead and smoking pot, but like completely the same person, not doing anything wrong, just being a little bit to her.
Just being a teenager.
Yeah, but to her, if it wasn't perfect, you were defiant.
Well, if you looked a certain way, it was okay with my mom.
That's true.
Because it was all about the visual for her, so if I wasn't dressing a certain way, that was like really freaked out.
She thought you were dirty,
her
right?
Yeah.
She got mad at you.
I think so, yeah. Who knows?
You were just stoned.
I was just stoned.
So stoned. A lot. Yeah, we've gone through it. So we have now we're in our 50s, and we have literally gone through the gamut. We lived together. We were roommates in a great apartment. We had our first dog together. Everyone in the building, a lot of people thought we were a couple in the building, and we didn't argue.
We shared a bedroom.
We shared a bedroom.
2 beds.
But like the bedroom the size of, probably my home growing up. How big was that?
It was a very big bedroom.
It was a huge bed. It was big enough for 2 beds, dresser,
2 queen
TV.
beds.
Yeah, it was like a lot.
Yeah.
And we lived up on 57th Street to 55th.
55th
and 7th.
7th Avenue and 55th Street. Yeah.
The Wyoming.
The Wyoming. Awesome building.
Such a great
Such
building.
an amazing building.
Yeah,
Remember the people that lived in that building?
It was like...
we would see Lauren Bacall in the elevator.
Do you watch Murders in the Building now? Only
Yes.
Murders in the Building?
Yes,
That's
of
our
course.
life. That's what we had. We had like the old steady doorman that everyone, they knew each other's business. We had the perverted guy. Remember the guy, the smoker guy? That was the perverted guy? Remember the perverty guy who tried to make me quit smoking?
The what guy?
He was perverty. Remember, he'd like talk sexual to me. It's like, that smoke comes out of your skin.
Oh, yeah,
and you
yeah,
taste
yeah.
it on your nipples. I was like 20, and he was like, old man, if you smoke cigarettes, it comes out of your skin, and you can taste it on your nipples, implying that anyone was licking my nipples. I was like, who's licking nipples? My God. And then back to Deanna. Someone was licking hers. Nobody was licking mine.
Stop.
So this is something that's really fun. And I don't know if you could tell now by looking at us, but I was a little bit more, I seemed somehow a little bit more...
Wild.
A little wild. Like I I was out. I was in nightclubs a lot. My brother owned nightclubs. So I was out. I was about. She was reading books. She was, it was blonde, blunt hair. She wore glasses. She did the sweater around her neck business.
No, I see.
Good, whatever. And in my head, she was wearing Chanel.
I looked much more conservative.
She definitely looked more conservative.
And you seemed much more wild.
Meanwhile,
back at the ranch.
I was a nerd sitting at home, and she was out being crazy.
You weren't sitting at home, but you were more prudish.
I was a prude.
And I was
on every level.
Much more experimental.
And I had no idea. Like, she was doing all the things, and I didn't know about it. Right. And there was one specific time where we had our Papa Shanes downstairs came up, and I think there might have been weed in the hallway or something. And Laura was like, "Oh, Kelley, you left your weed out." And I'm like, it's Deanna's. I don't even smoke weed. Everyone thought everything was mine. But the one thing I did that used to drive you nuts is we'd go out and we'd drink, and I'd always have to stay past the one you wanted to end on. Remember, I always wanted just one more.
Always.
And it would make her nuts.
Yeah, always.
and it would be to the point of then I would be vomiting, which I think is what you were going to get to if you'd like to tell. Oh, let's tell each other's favorite stories. You want to do that? Like my favorite good, most disastrous. Do I have a disastrous? Okay. Oh, I have a disaster. No, I don't know if I can tell you a disaster story.
You don't want to tell my disaster story?
No.
Okay.
Okay, I have to think. You can tell mine.
You want me to tell your disaster story?
Do you want to tell a disaster? You guys want to hear my disaster story?
The one that I mentioned before?
You can if you want to. It's disgusting, but it's a true story.
It's a classic. It's a good one. Yeah. So I don't know what we were doing that night or if we were even together.
I was out with Becky, Gemini Lounge.
You were out without me.
Yes.
And you came home very, very drunk.
That's putting it minimally.
Yeah,
yes.
You were a wreck.
I crawled out of the cab, puking on myself, on every part. I was covered, and I had on leather pants.
Oh, always the leather pants.
Always, I had great leather pants.
Yeah, leather pants. Yeah, so you came home very drunk, and I was like, oh my God, I had to get you into the bathroom. And eventually, as the night wore on and you were settling down, you were on the toilet. And I was like, Kelley, you gotta get to bed. And I think you just were not ready. And I was like, all right.
Okay, and she's still my friend.
You're safe because you're not laying down. You're not on your back.
Yeah.
You were on the toilet, and I think your head was between your legs.
It's a great visual.
You were sitting on the toilet with your bent over with your head between your legs, and I was like, all right, she's safe.
She's safe.
And so I just went to bed.
Oh, my God.
And then at some point in the wee hours of the morning, you were like, you left me here.
And I put myself to bed. Do you remember that I didn't take care of myself?
No, you didn't.
I didn't. I don't know how else to word this, but I was so intoxicated.
She was
that
soiled.
I lifted myself.
She was soiled.
out of the bathroom and put myself into the bed.
Yeah.
Without
and you were upset
myself.
With me that I kind of like left you in that position, but I was like, I don't know. But then the moral of the story is that your butt was sealed shut.
Jesus,
pry it open.
My butt was sealed shut. That is so gross and so true. It was a horrible experience. Yeah, I don't know if I'm so. This is the stuff you share with your girlfriends. Oh my God. Now, if she was to tell anybody else the story, and I wasn't in the room, it'd be gossiping.
Yes.
That's my line in the sand on gossip right there.
Right.
What's funny is I remember the worst parts of that evening. I remember puking in the elevator. Like, I remember watching the vomit go into the elevator.
Oh, yeah.
I puked in between the elevator. I was...
You puked into the shaft.
I puked into the shaft, and the doorman did not know what to do, and I was not a friendly, happy drunk. I was like, get me home, I'm going to die. Yeah,
that was really rare. I mean, that's
the only time. Please, rare. It's the only time it's ever happened. It's not like the first of thirds.
That was a singular. Because usually we always had the best time.
Yeah,
we would be hungover, but not like that. That was brutal.
That was.
Yeah. What the hell were you doing?
I drank so much I threw up in the bar in the cup that I was drinking out of, and someone else picked it up and drank it. Swear to God.
Stop!
That is a factual story. Becky can tell the story. I puked into the cup. The glass it came right back out. I was drinking vodka, orange, and cranberries is what I was drinking. I don't think I've ever had one since.
No.
And they were playing pool, and they picked up my glass and drank it was so violent. We were in Gemini Lounge.
Do you remember you never drank wine? You hated wine.
It was the body and blood of Christ. I couldn't drink it.
Yeah. And then we kind of like lost touch, not lost touch, but like drifted apart for a little while.
It's probably your fault.
Yeah, I'm sure it was. And then all of a sudden, you drank wine. And I was like, what?
Yeah, you know what? There's a bunch of things that happen with that. I think Catholic school screwed me up, right? It was the body and blood. And anytime I tasted it reminded me of church. And then because I smoked cigarettes, I think I had a really, my palate was really, it needed to be very heavy for me to like it. So fast forward, Patrick opened a restaurant called, remember that Italian place on 51st Street for a minute?
No.
He opened our Italian restaurant, and on the night of the opening of the Italian restaurant, he and I had dinner together, and he ordered a bottle of wine, and I was like, oh, it was like a very expensive bottle of wine. And I was like, Pat, I don't drink wine. He's like, well, just taste it. And I think he got like a Bordeaux. He got something big.
That's heavy. Yeah.
And for the first time ever, I was like, oh, this is actually really good. And that's what started. I started drinking red wine with pasta, like when I knew how to.
Right.
And then I really went over the top with it because when I quit smoking, I could make myself have a cigarette if I had a red wine. It was the only thing I could justify a cigarette with. But meanwhile, I didn't want the wine. I really wanted the cigarette. It was my pretend.
Right.
You know, you only smoke when you drink, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, then I like it too much, the wine.
Yeah.
Yeah. I went into Cara that used to work at Gemini Lounge. She actually opened Tao Group. Great girl. I've known her for a long time. I was sitting at the Soho Grand the other day, and Cara walked by, and we ended up hanging out. And I ordered a drink, and she was like, I remember when you only drank Amstel Light with a lime or Corona. She remembered my beer. I was like, for years I was a beer drinker. Yeah, so we've gone through through every
phase together.
My heartache for you. I remember you being brokenhearted. Like my drunken stories, I think I outdid you with the ass molded, what was it, sewn together with poop.
Yeah.
I win on the grossest story. But I think yours, I just remember you having your heart broken. Like those moments I remember, like the earlier dating parts of stories.
So many heartbreaks.
The drummer, was he a drummer? Was he a guitar player? What was drummer?
Oh, my first love.
Yeah, I remember him and like that story going on and on.
That was rough. Yeah.
Yeah, and then we had Rob. You had Michael. That was a terrible, tragic, awful situation.
What the hell were we thinking?
All the wrong things.
Yeah.
All the wrong things.
Yeah.
Do you remember when I went out with a guy with the turtleneck? Remember the guy with the turtleneck and the blazer that came back to the house and he looked like an actual, like a.
The Argentinian guy?
No, he was hot.
You hated him.
Oh my God, I couldn't stand him. He was such a snob. He was mean to waiters.
Ugh.
Yeah, he was obnoxious.
That's a no-no.
That was a no-no.
That's a big no-no.
But that was. I tried to have my first one-night stand with someone who knew where I worked and lived. Like, what was I thinking? If he showed up the next day,
he wore a blazer and a turtleneck.
No, the blazer and the turtleneck guy was the guy that was the producer or director for. Remember, I didn't remember meeting him, and he called me up and he asked me for a date. And you were like, if you don't remember meeting him, he probably isn't that bad. And he came to the apartment to pick me up, and he was like 60. And like a movie producer.
I remember those.
And he looked like a troll, like an actual troll.
Yeah.
And he had my biggest pet peeve has always been my least favorite outfit on anyone ever is a turtleneck and a blazer. It's a dick outfit. Doesn't look on anybody. I don't care who you are. And he showed up at my doorstep in a turtleneck and a blazer. And I still went out with him. But he was a fucking troll. He was such a troll. He tried to kiss me at the end of the night. Yeah, we ran the gamut of the wrong guys. She was on Queer Eye for the Straight Guy.
I was on the very first season of Queer Eye.
Yeah, with the schmuck. That guy, what happened to him? He did something wrong. What did he do to you?
Nothing. We just broke up.
She's minimizing the stories.
It wasn't serious.
Let's talk about aging. Let's talk about getting here. So Deanna got married, has two teenagers. So grown? Is that a grown child? What would you call them?
I think they're just
grown children.
Grown children? I don't know. They're teenagers.
I don't know what to call them.
I don't know. I don't think of them as
they're
grown.
Kids. They're not grown. When is a child grown? That's a good question.
I think like 20 maybe.
20? All these poor kids. I think like 40. 40, they'll be grown.
Yeah, hopefully.
So she's got a boy and a girl.
Yeah.
Husband lives out in New Jersey now. Mm-hmm. She's an esthetician. I was her first candidate.
Yes, you came with me to take my state board exam.
I let her.
You were my model.
I was her model.
Yes, and I made you wear like it was like a shower cap or something.
Beautiful.
And it was so early in the morning. And back then, this is something amazing because remember you always slept so
late.
I
could sleep until 2:00 in the afternoon.
All day.
Pitch black.
And you were so obsessed with sleep. And you would like... you had all the setup.
I had all the things.
You would pull all the curtains and tape things up, and you'd have humidifiers and sound machines, and it was like this sleep den. And we shared a room. It was like incredible, but still, it didn't matter. I would wake up at 7:00 in the morning because I never slept late in my whole life. And now you wake up so early.
Like ridiculously early every day.
amazing.
I think it's menopausal.
Yeah.
I think it's the age.
Do you remember when we went on vacation to Barbados?
Tell the story.
This was the greatest because I was supposed to go on vacation with another friend. And that friend and I had a falling out. And I had a ticket to go to Barbados. And I said to you, it was literally like 2 days before. I said, Kelley, can you go to Barbados with me like tomorrow? And you were like, okay. And that's the best thing about you. And when it comes to traveling or going on vacation, always, even when we had no money whatsoever, if I was like, do you want to go to wherever? Florida, you'd be like, okay, yeah, let's go. Like, and I remember when I thought maybe I would have to adopt a baby because I was having trouble getting pregnant. I said, will you go live in like, I don't know,
China or something to bring the baby?
Yeah, or whatever. And you were like, yeah, okay. But that was a very last minute. And I was like, can we go to Barbados, tomorrow, whatever? And you were like, yep. So we went to Barbados. We stayed at the most random hotel. I mean, we had nothing at that time. We had no money, but we stayed at this hotel. It was so cute.
Yeah, it was great. The beach was the size of like a...
It was a tiny little strip of beach.
Tiny little beach.
We would walk off to another...
Covered in those little white crabs.
Yeah. Including the people.
Oh, God. They were white crabs, too. Lobster people.
They were so white, and they were all sunburned. And they were from England or Ireland or something, but there was a wedding.
There was a wedding.
They were getting married.
Lobster people.
And they all had lobster claws for hands.
They had lobster.
and they had a grandpa.
Do you remember that we were like one by one going, oh my God, there's another one.
That's another one.
It was crazy. Like it was a family, so it's a genetic.
But it was like generations.
It's a generation of genetic. Like the lobster people, this is a real thing. This is a genetic disorder, and it's very rare. And they have a lobster hand.
Yeah,
and it was the grandfather, the father or mother, I can't remember.
It was a lot of them.
And the kids.
And the bride and groom.
The bride and the groom.
Yeah.
A lobster married a lobster. Oh my God, they found each other. Lobster's always made for life.
On the beach.
Go to hell.
But
and they had a wedding.
They had a grandpa, and he was just laying on the beach, like, with his lobster. He paused, and he couldn't do anything, and they kept bringing buckets of water.
Pouring them on him. They were pouring it on the
and
father.
He was so sunburned.
Everybody was the whole family was so sunburned.
Yeah, they were all burnt to a crisp.
They looked like they were the color of lobsters, but they had lobster hands. Yeah. But it was like if one of us would have seen the lobster people and then told the other one, it would have been like, come on, no, you're probably stoned. But then we weren't smoking weed. Oh, we were smoking weed? No, we weren't smoking weed. No. Because we were in another country. But they just were everywhere through the hotel. They had taken, it was like a family wedding of the lobster people. Mm-hmm. And people wouldn't believe that happened, but it happened.
It really did.
But so
God's honest truth.
I was invited to a graduation or something, some recital at a school, and I go in, and my sister's school, my sister's kids, and I sit down on the aisle, and I look down the aisle, and there's a Paduria baby that looked like a little doll. A Paduria baby with the wig and all, like that I only watched on, I've only seen you on Oprah. Like there's like 10 in the entire world. I love you. There's the very, very, very rare. That's like, come to the school, and there's also a unicorn. How the fuck didn't you tell me about this?
Yeah.
And I was like, I wanted so much to be the person's friend. Like I just wanted so much to be like, I love everything about you, and you're adorable, and with the big wig and the little dress and the whole thing on the same aisle. Like these are things that happen rarely, that you get to see a lobster person and a Paduria person in your lifetime.
And that was a disease that we knew about and were obsessed with as kids.
Paduria.
Yeah.
Obsessed.
Yeah.
And I saw the little voice and everything. Yeah, in the same aisle, like not that far away from me. It was like I was fucking losing my mind. It was like it's a very rare genetic disorder. It's very fucking sad because the child ends up aging. I don't know if anyone knows what it is, but it's an aging disorder. So you age much quicker, so your bones get brittle. But I don't know why. They were on every talk show when we were kids.
When we were kids, it was very popular.
And isn't that, it was like trending when we were kids.
It was like trending, yeah.
Totally.
Paduria was trending.
Yeah.
And there were so many things trending when we were kids that are not a thing anymore.
Tell me one.
Quicksand.
Quicksand never happened. Where is quicksand?
I don't know, but we were all afraid of it.
We were all prepared for it.
I mean,
we were all
afraid of quicksand.
Yeah, we were.
And my kids don't, they don't know what quicksand is.
Oh, really? They stopped teaching about quicksand?
They stopped, well, I don't know if we ever learned it in school or whatever.
Don't you think who else taught us it?
I think it was on TV.
I tried horses.
Old movies.
Horses and cowboys would go down in quicksand.
Yeah.
And what about stop, drop, and roll? Did people ever go on fire? Is that a thing? Except for when you're in the subway in New York?
I know. I think they still teach that.
Stop, drop, and roll?
Yeah.
I don't know anybody who needed to do that. Ever.
No.
Never ran from quicksand?
But I don't know if it was trending.
Okay, what else?
I feel like other things that were trending were things
Siamese twins were trending.
Siamese twins, Siamese cats.
Siamese cats. What kind of leap is that? Siamese cats.
They were popular.
That is true.
The other thing was things from Australia, like
Things from Australia.
kangaroos were popular when we were kids. And now they're scary.
When were they? What do you mean they were popular when we were kids?
Well, kangaroos were like cute and cool.
No, I think that was in your house, not in my house.
No, they were. Koalas.
Koalas were cute, but they're always mean. We had the clip-ons. Remember the clippy
Yes,
things?
of
So
course.
koalas, we had clip-ons. But kangaroos, when I was a kid, I remember them boxing. I remember I was afraid of kangaroos. I think they were fighters.
I was afraid
I
of
grew up in a-
kangaroos. Like we were going to run into one.
Littering was a fucking big deal. Remember learning that littering was a
Give
problem?
a hoot. Don't pollute.
Fires was that guy. Who's the fire guy? Smokey the Bandit.
Smokey the Bear.
Smokey the Bear.
Smokey and the Bandit.
Smokey and the Bandit. Oh, he was trending. Burt Reynolds was trending when we were a kid. Burt
Yeah.
Reynolds was everything when we were a kid.
Yep.
And Dom DeLuise. Remember Dom DeLuise?
Yes.
Oh my God, what happened to Dom? He's probably...
Tom DeLuise.
Who else? What else was
I don't know, for some reason, Buddy Hackett.
Buddy Hackett was trending. The ice cream... Oh, Bill Cosby.
Oh, yeah.
Pudding Pops. How do you think I've changed? I'm going to tell you. Have I changed? I mean, how much... What about me is the same? Because, I mean, you've known me literally my entire life.
So much about you is the same. Like, I still see you as the same exact little kid who was always ready to fight somebody, which we've talked about recently, how your propensity to kind of like not let things go or to fight.
So, sorry to interrupt you because
No,
we'll go back
it's
to
okay.
this, but one of the things about Deanna, and I say it all the time, in the course of our friendship, she will remind me of shit I forgot about myself. I think I really enjoy telling stories, even if it's a negative story about some things that are going on in my life. I'm someone who tends to, I don't know the word for it, but to talk too much. So I think I share when things are not good a lot. But Deanna pointed out that I tend to constantly have some form of conflict with somebody at any given moment. It's definitely their fucking fault. But anyway, but she made me kind of take a step back and think about, and this was just recently. But go ahead, sorry, I interrupted you. But she did bring that to my attention.
What was I saying?
Whatever it was wrong. But go ahead, something about
What were we talking about?
See, this is what happens.
What's the same? Oh,
Yeah.
and what's
Over-
changed?
over
So you're
50.
very much the same. I feel like your mannerisms, your way of carrying yourself, speaking, your way of interacting is still the same to me. Some other things have changed, obviously. Your tastes. You were such a picky eater.
I was a really picky eater. I was a limited eater.
You were such a picky eater, and so many things you
Yeah.
wouldn't eat, or you'd be afraid to try things.
Yeah.
That was a big thing.
Yeah.
You were very afraid to try new things.
I was afraid of everything, though.
Yes, you were. You were afraid of a lot of things, and
Yeah.
you're much braver now.
Yeah.
You're not afraid of stuff like that anymore.
Yeah.
You'll try new foods.
I
You'll
was
try new things.
neurotic about a lot of things. Like, I could only eat spaghetti. If it was pasta, it couldn't be a noodle. Like, I had weird...
Yes.
But
you
I'm
were.
realizing now I think I have OCD and I didn't know it.
Yeah, because, even though you've become much more brave and you're able to try new things, you still do obsess about the same things, and you'll eat the same things all the time.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's true. Like 5 days a week, I have the same food. I have lupes like 5 times a week. It's really crazy.
Yep.
And I'll do things ad nauseum, and then I can't. There's very few things I can't do again, but when I do get to the point of it making me nauseous, like I can't eat Carmel. I threw up from Carmel at my father's bar. I ate, remember the little squares?
Caramels?
Caramel. I said Carmel. It's caramel?
I say caramel.
Which is it? Is it caramel or caramel?
I think it's caramel.
God, see,
I know.
I thought I was fixed. I'm still broken. I don't know if it's my brain malfunctioning from menopause or if I just don't know these words. It's probably a little mix of both.
I think it's just a slip of the tongue.
Maybe. See, that's why she's my best friend. She gives me that out. She's like, it's not because you're stupid, Kelley. It's not because...
Definitely not.
Ask me how to spell author. One thing, though, and she'll tell you, I could do the New York Times crossword puzzle with a pen and then...
That is so impressive.
And not know shit from Shinola about other stuff. Like, I really do.
That's amazing.
I remember when I was first started dating on again, off again, and it was like, I couldn't do Friday. Sunday I would kill. Sunday, the New York Times crossword, Sunday I would do in 10 minutes, an hour. But he didn't believe it, and he got one, and we won it, because he was like, oh, I think you're looking it up on your phone. And he made me do it on a plane, and I did it.
He said that?
Yeah, he didn't. It was like, how do you know all that stuff when you don't know? There's so much stuff I don't know.
You would never
And
do that.
I'm quick to say what I don't know too, and I think people find that surprising. Like I'm
Yeah.
very quick to be like, I don't know what that word means, or I don't think people like to admit this. I don't feel stupid as much as I just feel like I wasn't exposed to it. If I was exposed to it and I forgot it, then I'm going to blame it on my age.
Right.
But if I knew it and I just don't know how to use it, then I feel stupid. I just think there's a lot of things I've never heard. The word tepid. I never heard that word tepid until I was working at the Soho Grand.
Really?
Yeah, it was the guys from Led Zeppelin told me that you don't know the story? That's how I met the guys
No.
in Zeppelin. Yeah,
I'm jealous.
Robert Plant and Jimmy Page were sitting at the Soho Grand. Yeah, you know that I know them. I got them tickets to my brother Pat. I have his phone number.
Huh?
Anyway,
Where was I that night?
Yeah, well, so I gave them espresso, and I was like, look at these like old rock stars. I didn't know they were actually old rock stars. I was giving them coffee, espresso, and I got waved back over, and Robert Plant said, "I'm sorry, miss, but this is tepid." And I said, "I'm sorry, sir, but I have no idea what that means."
That's so cute.
He said, room temperature. And then he said, where are you from? And we started talking. And he said he was a musician and blah. And they went on to tell me that they were in the band Led Zeppelin, or they are the band Led Zeppelin. And I said, oh, my brother really likes you guys. And he said, call your brother and you tell him you're sitting with, so Robert Plant said, call your brother and tell him you're sitting with Jimmy Page. So I went and used the host stand phone, and I called Patrick on his cell phone. He tells a story, and he was driving with Barrett doing something in Brooklyn, and I go, hey, Pat, do you know who Jimmy Page and Robert Plant are? And he goes, are you fucking kidding? He was like, yeah. I go, oh, they're sitting here. And Pat's like, are you, what? I go, yeah. I go, no, he knows who you are. He's really,
I can't believe you didn't know who they were.
No idea. He gave me tickets to the concert. I gave them to Patrick.
You know, off topic, because I'm thinking you didn't really listen to rock growing up.
No.
Right? Because we were in like the disco.
Yeah. And I did hip hop. I went to breakdancing.
So
pop.
wait, this is what I was going to ask you. Do you remember the Legion?
Of course.
It was a nightclub, for those that don't know. A nightclub for teenagers.
On Thursday nights, the Legion. Yeah.
And it was like the shit.
Yeah.
It was the hottest scene. But am I remembering correctly, or is this just a dream? But did you used to like battle?
Me, I battled.
You
yes,
battled, right? Oh my God, if only we had a video of that.
I battled. I would wear sweatpants, and the name on the side of your sweatpants was the song you had to battle to. And I had like Dindada, or I had Spank, I think was one of them. And you would have to dance, and it was like it wasn't hip hop and breakdancing back then.
No, it was like, what was that called?
I don't know what it was called, but
it had a name.
I could still do it right now. If you put on some disco, I could still.
Oh my God, we're totally doing that later. I'm making you do that later.
No, we're not.
We're going to like break it. We're going to pop a kneecap or something.
Live. Kelley coming for you live on her new podcast, sitting in that hospital room. And
that was the best.
Yeah, I used to battle. And years later, I was out with.
Did they serve alcohol to teenagers?
No,
there?
they did not. They didn't.
Okay.
My father's bar was right down the block. You went on Thursday nights. I was in love with Eric back then. I used to go see him, and he was what was it called? Bugger. It was bugging.
Bugging. That's right. Yeah.
Kelley for the win. See, I told you I really did fix myself.
You were such a good dancer.
I was a very good dancer. I really
my God, you were so good.
Yeah. And then when it came like with the Louis Mordente days, I was popping and breakdancing. I would carry cardboard and like walk and throw it on the ground and break and battle people.
That is the silliest thing.
It's the silliest thing ever. Someone that would tell the story is funny is Anthony Michael Hall, when we were kids, was at Peggy Sue's one night, and I battled someone in front of him, and he was like, I have never seen someone dance like that. Like, he was so highly impressed with my dancing skills.
That was so fun, though. Going to the nightclub when we were teenagers, like, my kids don't have anything like it.
I think it was like 7 to 10 or 7 to 11.
And we would get there when it started and
wait
stay
outside
until it ended. Like, there would be a line outside.
And everyone had a crush on somebody. Like, that's where, that was like Andrew Kennedy and those kids.
And you would always make out with everybody there. You would make out with whoever you liked. That's where you made out.
Yeah, we went with them.
You went with them. Yeah, you called it went with them. I went with
him. And you got picked on.
Yep.
And she wasn't a fighter.
No, except that one time. I did get into fights, though. That was such a crazy thing.
Fist fighting.
Growing up fist fighting.
Well, the thing that I tried, what's funny is now it's weird, and I was saying this, I don't know, I was saying this the other day. I get mad at myself. I don't like when someone says I can't. I had a friend recently who was like, oh, I always protect her, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, and some little Brooklyn girl inside me was like, fuck, what are you out of you? And I find myself going, what am I bragging at 53 about fist fighting? That's gross. but only because I earned it. You had to when we were kids.
Yeah.
And the fact is, I did, and I was surprisingly strong for someone as small as I am. And for anyone to take that away from me, because the first time, growing up where we grew up, it's like the first time you did hit somebody or have a fist fight, you're scared shitless.
So scared.
Remember knowing 3 o'clock after school you're dead. It's like, oh, fuck, I'm going to get my ass kicked.
I did.
I know you did.
I got my ass kicked so bad one day.
Yeah, you did. Other than my siblings, I never got beat up. My siblings beat me up. My sister beat the shit out of me. But I never, when and if there was a fist fight, and girls in our neighborhood fist fought. It was fucking weird. It was like people would...
It was very weird.
It was a very violent childhood in a way that was... And it wasn't, no one used bats, and there was no weapons or any of that stuff, but it was real full-on fists.
Yeah.
For girls. So I guess now the funny thing is when anyone says that I can or I don't, or it's like I got hit a lot. Like I got to get to a place where I can defend myself.
Yeah.
Not wanting to have to defend myself. So don't make me have to prove it now. Like don't take. Let me earn my. I earned my battle scars. You know, like let me have them.
Yeah.
I don't want to have to do that now. But I do. The one thing about that I feel now, and it's probably I think a bit too much sometimes, especially when it comes to my dog. I get too comfortable in protecting myself. Where I need to back down because it's not the same day it used to be. And when someone steps in your face now, they could burn you or shoot you or hit you with things.
I know.
So now I have to I'm too comfortable in protecting things at this age. I'm a 53-year-old, I'm an old woman, which is great.
Stop.
I am though. We are.
We're getting there. I don't know that I would call us old women yet, but we're middle-aged. Are we? Are we middle-aged or we're past that?
Middle-aged.
Well, we're not senior citizens. We can't collect Social Security yet.
Soon, girl. Soon.
I'm
50. I'll be 54 this year. I'm not going to live to be 108. So I'm definitely past middle age.
I'm definitely not going to be 108 either.
How do you know? Maybe you will be. No,
that's really old.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think I want to be that old.
We're both way too fucking stressed, far too picky, far too hard on ourselves to live past 90. I'm going to hit myself at 90. I think 80 is too young. 90 works. 100
80 is too young.
But we have too much stress. We're the youngest. It's the fucking most stressful position ever. Anxiety-ridden.
Yep.
It's crazy, right? We bounce it off each other a lot about what it's like to be the youngest with our siblings. And
being the youngest,
we have a lot of the same shit.
Yes, I was just saying that we both need to work on our inner child.
Yeah.
Somehow. I don't know what that means.
We don't want to do it because they were annoying and apparently badly dressed. Because I'm not putting on a pair of fucking gold diggers to work at anything.
Sneakers. Skippy sneakers.
I love Skippies. People don't know what Skippies are. Are they Skippies still? Do they have Skippies?
I don't know if they're called that, but they were white.
Skippies,
yeah. And remember we would paint them to keep them white? You had that like squishy sponge that had white paint in it and you would paint your sneakers.
Oh my God. That's crazy. We've gone through the fucking ringer together, huh?
We have seen it all.
Worst part about being 50? For you, not me. You already know. Fucking mine's on it. What's your worst part about being 50?
Worst part about being 50, definitely one of the worst parts is losing my eyesight. And literally gaining weight by just looking at food. That really makes me mad.
Best part about being 50?
Best part about, I think there's a lot more better than bad.
Yeah,
I hate, like the physical stuff, weight gain and joint pain and, all that stuff sucks. But the mental, calm that comes with aging of just not caring anymore what people think, doing exactly what you want. Never, no, I don't like that. I don't do that.
Yeah.
No, I don't want to go.
First of all, one of my biggest things, and I say this about you all the time, you have forever just said, without an excuse, no for things. I don't know when you learned to do that, but you would say, no, I don't want. It wouldn't be, I can't go because I'm sick, I can't go because the car's not working. She didn't bullshit with an excuse. You'd have plans with Deanna, and she'd go, I just don't feel like it. Okay? The fuck says that? How do you say stuff like that? How come you're not telling me that something's on fire in the house or that someone's sick? You'd say it since, maybe not kids, but definitely into our 20s. You could make a full plan, and if you didn't want to do it, like I say, I don't rush.
Yeah.
I don't rush, because if I have to rush, that means I'm not supposed to do it.
Right.
I'm perpetually early, so I don't ever have to rush.
Right.
And if I have to rush, I might as well not even go, because I'll be so fucked up. It will really ruin things for me if I'm late or if I have to rush.
I don't like rushing or
the worst.
Being late either.
But you really, from a young age, were like, I'm not going to explain myself. You didn't come up with bullshit excuses. You would just say, no, I don't want to. And
wow.
I've
so
always
evolved.
You really are so evolved. That's probably because no one ever left you in the bowl with shit on your ass and sent you to bed like that.
Yeah, I'm not scarred for life.
I feel like I'm literally perpetually working on that moment.
The poo-poo incident.
The poo-poo incident. That's so gross.
Poopgate.
Oh my God, Poopgate. The craziest part is definitely, I'm going away and I just got a bunch of bathing suits. And I'm thinner than I had been. I had gained a bunch of weight, right, when menopause first happened. But I'm back down to a weight that I'm comfortable with. But my body shape changed. Things are different. Like where I used to have, it's weird to gain. It's the gaining weight thing is very strange because then it's also weight you can't lose. It's like just this weight that stays with you.
Yeah, it's just not going
It just
anywhere.
doesn't go anywhere.
Although you really can't talk because your body still looks amazing. You've always had like a naturally perfect body.
Remember, she said the things that she doesn't like is that her eyes have gone. So she's speaking from someone who is looking at me without her glasses on. So as long as she
I
has
have my
shitty
glasses
eyesight,
on. I
as long as
can't
she has
take them
shitty
off.
eyesight, I still look good. I love that about this relationship. The changing of the body is weird, but I'd rather be in the changing of the body than if you remember those years of stagnancy through our 20s where nothing changed. It didn't matter what happened. Everything just stayed exactly the same. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like now there's always something changing.
Yeah.
Whether you like it or not, you ride the wave, right? The only choice is I'd rather get old than not. And I think the best part is absolutely being able to be like, I don't care. And having relationships like we have where it's like, so one of the funny things about Deanna and I and anyone who knows us, we're lucky to share a lot of the same friends and met friends along the way in the years that we lived together and stuff that know us both now, then and now. And people would always say everyone thought that I was the wild one between the two of us. And that because she always appeared to be so much more refined with her little glasses and her outfits. And I think you actually were like penny loafers or something. She just pulled it all together to kind
I
of
just have that girl next door look.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
You do. But she was the girl next door, like Girls Gone Fucking Wild next door. And I was like the nerd.
Girl next door gone wild.
Yeah, girl next door that's gone wild, and Kelley got blamed. If there was a house party in our apartment, they'd come knocking and ask for Kelley.
Yeah.
They would definitely not think Deanna was having the house party. Meanwhile, I would be inside crying over like Jay. Like crying into my Coca-Cola or my Amstel Light, and she'd be like dancing on the tables with God knows who. All the years that we've been friends, we actually did at some point, there's a few points that we kind of split off and had to reconnect. At one point, she was doing a cleansing of people who were not giving her their time. And she called me, and I clearly remember the conversation.
I remember this. Yeah,
And
that was a million years ago.
It was a million years ago, but you said, like, I'm going through my phone book, and I'm looking at people who haven't called me or checked on me, and I'm like eliminating people who don't have time. Like if I'm always looking for you something to that, I'm definitely
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God, and I literally took car service to your house.
Yeah, you came over that day. I
came
think
that day. I was like, I love you, and I don't want to lose your friendship. We went our separate, and then I had the shit boyfriend for a while, the abusive one, and then that was like
I never met him.
You would have literally stabbed him in his throat and would have
Yeah.
done that. You would have known
No.
in 2 seconds at our company that he was abusing me. You would have known. A lot of people didn't know. But
Yeah.
people, you would have picked up. I think I kept him away from who I needed to keep him away from and who he would have scared.
Yeah.
He was a horrible human being. But yeah, so our lives just took different courses.
Yeah.
Anyway, so what do you think about, do you remember feeling a way about my life or what I was doing or like worrying about me or think ever doubting our friendship or anything? Like, give me a story. I'm talking too much, even though it's my talk show. My podcast, my talk show. Welcome. All of a sudden, I'm like,
Oprah.
I think I am Oprah. Oh my God, one can dream. Is there any one moment in our friendship that you ever thought we weren't coming back together?
Maybe when we had that big, like, when you moved out.
Yeah.
I think that was that was kind of like, well, yeah.
It was a silence. We had a silence.
Yeah, we had like I think we needed to break up for a little while.
Yeah, because we lived like we were in a relationship.
Yes, we were like a couple.
We reported
Yeah.
to one another if somebody was staying
I
out
did
late.
I did the cooking.
She did the cooking.
And the cleaning.
I was going to say I did the cleaning. I didn't.
You didn't.
I didn't.
I did the cooking and the cleaning, and yes, it was like I was. Yeah,
And then other friendships happened, and so I was going one way, she was going the other way.
Yeah,
and then we had a dog that we shared, but it was that was the only brief point I thought. I never thought we weren't getting back together. I mean, getting back together, coming back together. But I did think that
that was bad though.
we needed. Yeah, that was a big thing because my friends
was like a breakup.
Yeah.
That was terrible. But then we did get back together. And I think maybe at that point I might have felt like maybe I doubted that we would ever be close again, but it didn't last long.
You heard it here first. I'm glad I fought for this. I probably over.
And then you cut your hair really short.
And then I cut my hair really short, and then we fixed it all because I cut my hair. I cut my hair really short.
It
That
was
so weird.
short.
And blonde.
It was crazy.
And
I think you should pop up a picture of what that looked like.
I was on Law and Order with that hair.
That hair. Oh
so
my
weird.
God. That was so not you.
I was walking home.
It's so weird how I guess we go through phases of doing things that aren't us at all.
Yeah, I went through a lot of those phases. A lot of I can name those phases. But yeah, I was walking home from Montauk and my hair blew this way, and I saw the tips of my hair, and it was white blonde. I'm like, whose fucking hair is this?
Yeah.
I'm far too white to have this color hair without looking like I'm jaundice. And then that was it. That was the last. But I had red hair for a while. The red hair was great on me.
Yeah.
But it was just too hard to keep because when your brown roots came in,
I know,
it looked
bad.
greasy.
Yeah.
Now I have gray hair, which is always fun.
Me too.
So much gray hair. Okay, so here's my advice. Don't listen to Cosmo, who says don't make changes when you have a breakup. Because Deanna thought we broke up, I purposely did a major change and cut off my hair just to get her attention back. I did it for her. So don't listen to Cosmo. They say don't make changes when you're broken up. Basically, she said it here off the cuff. The reason that our friendship changed and got back is because I cut all of my hair off.
And I needed to save you from your haircut.
She needed to save me from my haircut.
But then I cut my hair off too.
Yeah, you did. You had your hair short for years.
Yeah, don't let me do that again.
I'll never let you do that again. And she's got really beautiful hair, and she should. But she didn't do it because of me. She did it for herself. It's always been a one-sided relationship. She cooked, she cleaned, but I cared.
Yeah.
Friendships change over time, over the decades. If you have a friendship as lucky as we are that lasts as long as this, there are so many things that you go through with one another, and there's so many moments of change where you either realize you're going to come back together, which we've discussed sometimes when we didn't think we were going to, or that I don't think anyone rides it evenly throughout. Like, I think people have friendships, not everybody, but people who are blessed and know people as long as we know each other, have to go through so many changes. Mm-hmm. One of the things I had said previously is that I have the same friends, the same girlfriends I got my period with, you being one of them. You got yours before me.
Yeah.
You remember getting your period before, you got it before Trisha and I.
Yeah, I was
She started
11.
young,
yeah.
and I was so jealous. Shaving legs and getting the period is something I was jealous of. And braces. You had braces before me too. We both had braces though. But riding through the waves of change, of like going through adolescence, going into our 20s, dating, thinking that we had the loves of our lives, I mean, more than once, and being so far from right. You never liked anybody I dated though. You never thought anybody was right.
No.
Yeah.
That's true.
I can't recall.
Not gonna lie.
I don't think I ever liked anybody you dated either, did I? Was I nice to anybody?
I mean,
I'm still on the fence about Terry, and you got 2 kids.
No, you liked
I'm kidding. Of course I
think you
liked
definitely liked Terry, but
No, of course. There was nothing not to like.
Before that, I don't think you really liked anybody that I dated.
I think that's one of the things about female friendships, where it's like we both have to approve the final guy.
Yep,
that's why you haven't proved
yeah.
anybody yet. Yeah, I knew Terry as soon as I met him. I knew that this was different, and it was going to be. And then, clearly, I was right. Mm-hmm. But there's nothing not to like. He was just so easy, and like you were yourself. That was I think that's the thing too about relationships that I don't think I've had, is that you unapologetically yourself with Terry from the fucking beginning, and then I saw that. I didn't see you putting on airs or having to go around things. I mean, you tried harder. I remember you wanting to make him happy in a way that I hadn't seen you want to make someone happy for. Because if someone didn't like something about you, they were shit out of luck. But you changed things for Terry, or you at least were like, I'm going to work on things. I remember that. I remember you being more open to see yourself in things that he had pointed out.
Yeah.
Positive things. I'm not saying
Terry
picked on you.
Calming down.
Yeah, like he didn't pick on you at all. But but you were like, oh, that you had a man who pointed something out, and you're like, oh, he's right, But I don't think I've had that. I don't think I've had that guy yet. Mm-mm. So I think that it's interesting when you get to go through all of those things with people.
Yeah, your friendships take on so many different facets in your lives,
and
right?
like what you need them for, like things I used to call you about, where I don't, like the major shit I still call you about, like the day-to-day dribble shit I don't. Where back in the day we would talk about blah, 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 but then now it's like, oh, that's the person I need to tell this to.
Yeah, and you kind of go from being like inseparable to then,
finding yourself.
Yeah, finding yourself and branching out, and like me getting married and having kids, you remaining, not, choosing to not have kids. Like it's amazing that, it lasts through all of those changes, like so many changes, but then you kind of drift apart and come back together. Yeah. Drift apart, come back together.
I think you have to get to a place where when you first meet friends, you have to have everything in common. You have to like all the same things and do all the same things, and that's how you build your friendships. Yeah. You have to like you listen to the same music. And when at one point when we didn't. Yeah. So I think as we grow, I think what happens is that you have the core staple things that matter. I think you and I care a lot about, we have the same ethics, we have the same morals. I think that we love family in the same way. I think we feel the same way about the world. Yeah. Politically, dogs, I mean, all the animals, we have all the same. I think on the major shit we agree on. And the day-to-day, you might be like, hell, why did you do that? Like, and then it doesn't matter anymore. The friendship is already formed, but I think you had to love all the same things in the beginning.
And now we just laugh at all the same things, which is the most important thing.
And hate the same people, which is very important.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's what you have to. That's how you know you have a good friend. You have to both dislike the same people.
And I love your dog.
And she loves my dog. And I loved her dog, but I don't really know her dog, but her dog just passed away. But we shared a dog, and that dog I loved. The dog's I don't know the dog that she just put to sleep, but I mean, it died. She didn't put it to sleep. The dog Deanna had that she put to sleep was actually old and sick and dying.
Yeah, it was
and I met her once and
she
had bad breath. I wasn't into it.
Yeah.
And that's the funny thing. I wasn't even into dogs till I was totally into dogs.
Yeah.
I go all in. I'm a head case. So I want to do something fun. I want to do a little section I'm going to call Hot Flashes. And I'm going to bullet point questions at you, and we both have to answer them. So to get to know, see how well we know each other after 100 years of friendship. You ready? Mm-hmm. And if you get it wrong, you're never coming back. And friendship is over.
I'm
the
scared.
friendship, the BFF tattoo, I'm going to have it removed. Okay, favorite color. Do you know my favorite color?
I don't really know if I do.
See? She's not my best friend.
Is it pink?
Why? Because I have it on right now? You're such a dick. That was like the stupidest.
It's just the first color I saw.
Yeah, because I wear pink so often.
Well, is it green?
It's so stupid. So I'm going to say your favorite color is either you liked blue. You liked blue when we were young, but I think you like gray and beige. I think as colors like on you. I think you like
on me.
Yes, and I'm not just saying it because you have it on. It's because you just did that to me.
Yeah, you're just saying that because I'm wearing a gray shirt.
No, it's not true because I was thinking about it before you got here. I think you like, and I'm colorblind, so I don't know if it's beiges or browns, but you like a natural tone.
Yeah, neutral.
Neutral.
Yeah, black or gray.
Okay.
Pretty much.
But what about
what I wear?
Okay.
As far as colors go, like as just out there
like
in the
blue,
world,
right?
I like green. Green's my favorite color.
See, I don't know that. Mm-hmm. So white is.
So that's the only thing we don't know about each other.
We're gonna keep
our
going.
favorite colors.
That's not true.
Okay.
So my favorite color is white. I love white.
That's weird.
Why is it weird?
I don't know, because it's not a color.
Don't be judgy. It's a tone, right? Is that what it is?
It's the absence.
It's the absence of color. See?
Oh my God, this is so deep now. What the fuck? We have to really now. Holy shit.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Why
That's
is my
weird.
favorite-
We
yeah.
got to talk about that.
Isn't it weird?
Yeah.
Well, it's weird that we don't know that of each other because I would have never picked green for you ever.
That is weird.
What did you ever have that was fucking green?
I think that. Do you like white because you like clouds?
Maybe I love clouds.
You do love clouds. I know that.
See, she's trying to prove how much she knows me now.
Yeah.
Okay. Favorite food.
Your favorite food? Shellfish.
Yes.
Come on.
I was gonna say
Raw bar.
anything raw. All the time. And yours? I know you love pizza. I don't think it's your favorite food.
Pizza's my favorite food.
Pizza's your favorite food. Okay,
Definitely.
so I was right about that.
So we
All
got that right.
Yay!
Ding, 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 ding.
Okay.
We got one.
What's my favorite song?
Did you ever know that you're
Not at all.
It
Or
was.
Fail. That was like
don't know.
reminding me of my mother for a minute. You don't know my favorite song?
I probably do, but I don't like pressure.
Oh, see, one of us can't handle pressure, and that would not be me. So you know what song? I'll tell you this. What song reminds me of you? So that song reminds you of me? It's a fucking corny song. My
That
hero.
corny song?
I mean, I love
That
Bette Midler.
Midler song?
I love Bette Midler, but that's not my favorite song. But what song reminds me of you, and I tell you every time, is Heart. When I step up in the morning and I step outside and I take
That's
a
not
deep
Heart.
breath. Whoever it is.
Four
And I
Non
get
Blondes.
real high. Okay, that reminds me of you.
Okay.
What's going on?
I love that.
That's one of your.
I love that song.
That song reminds me of you. So,
a great song.
So, Hero by Bette Midler. Is
I
a
don't
song
know.
that
You
think of?
you were obsessed with that song. You can't tell me you weren't obsessed with that song at some
was
point.
so stoned
Remember how
for so
obsessed
many
you were
years.
with that song? You
It was a
sang that
sad song
about your
It's-
mom.
It reminded me. Yeah, my sister played it for my mother, so my sister gets to own that song for my mom. But it's
I
fine.
don't know what your favorite song is.
Well, then you.
What is it?
Rainbow Connection would be first and foremost.
I didn't know that, but that's amazing. That's so cute. I love that
so
song.
cute. But then I have a bunch of favorite songs.
Send in the Clowns?
Send in the Clowns, one of
Okay,
the best
I
songs
got
ever
that.
written. Thank
Okay.
you. She steps back up. She went for a dunk and she missed, and she came back for the sec. That's the crowd cheering. What was my first boyfriend's name?
Eric.
Okay, we can give it to him. Yeah, that's true.
You had a boyfriend before that?
Yeah, probably, but I take Eric.
He was your first real
He was my
boyfriend.
first real. Your first real Dougie.
Yes,
Up in
Dougie.
the park where the dancers are fresh.
Uh-huh.
Do you remember the song? We made up a song about our boyfriends. Do you remember the song? Up in
Yeah.
the park where the dancers are
Yes.
fresh. There are two.
Oh
who can
my
dance.
God,
One belongs
stop.
to her, one belongs to me, and the name is Eric and Dougie.
We have a rap.
one is blonde
That
hair
is
and was
so
mighty tall.
embarrassing.
Why do I know the words? I can't tell you what I ate for breakfast.
I cannot believe you just pulled that
I'm
out.
going to sing the whole song when this thing shuts off. I'm not going to do it now because I'm embarrassed, because somewhere he and his wife are like, is she still
There
fucking
were
talking about me?
two foxy guys.
Who danced the best? One belonged to her, one belonged to me, and the name were Erica and Dougie. So because we know each other then and now, I want you to tell me what I used to drink and what I drink now.
Okay, you used to only drink beer. Mm-hmm. You would drink, when we were kids, we drank like Rolling Rocks, where you would drink Amstel with a lime or a Corona.
Mm-hmm. And now?
And now you drink white wine, Chardonnay. We'll drink red wine with pizza. Mm-hmm. Or you'll get like an Aperol Spritz. Mm-hmm. Or
she's going through the seasons.
Something like that. Yeah, it depends on the
winter,
season.
spring,
Depends. Only iced coffee. Only iced coffee in the summer, hot coffee in the winter.
All right, you know me.
Yeah.
And so you at a bar would be wine. Now white wine, but you like a Sauvignon Blanc. Would you do mixed drinks? Like a vodka soda?
Mixed drinks.
I
like vodka soda, gin and tonic.
Gin and tonic might be what I'm thinking of.
Aperol Spritz.
All right. See, I'm not as good as you are.
I never met a cocktail I didn't like.
All right. So before people hate us, we're going to have to wrap this up. And everyone's going to want to be our friends now, by the way. So we're going to have to shut the phones down. Don't call, don't text. Our friendship, our group is small. It's just the two of us, so leave us alone. Give me 3 words that describe me.
Energetic. Charismatic.
Oh.
And hilarious.
I like me better now. I like me better because of you. 3 things for you. Curious. Always curious. Super loyal. And extremely sensitive. Yeah. We're fucking adorable, aren't we?
We're so cute.
I can't stand us. Can we be best friends forever? Thank you so much. We should get sweatshirts. The one thing, but Deanna has not mentioned this entire time, which is one of the things I tell everybody, and it's why I have the table I have in my house. Deanna referred to me as the giving tree when we were kids, and she said that I was the tree. I wasn't the little boy on the tree, I was the tree. So every time I think of the giving tree or see the giving tree, I think of you, and I bought a table that looked like the giving tree because she said that.
That's
which
really
is a very
sweet.
sweet thing to say. I'm not that nice.
Because you are very generous.
I mean, thanks for mentioning it now when I sucked it out of you. But, throw a line.
You have always been very generous.
Thank you. I love you very much, and thank you so much for coming.
I love you too. Thank you for having me. This was amazing.
It's fun, right?
Yeah, it's so
fun.
fun.
God. All right, maybe she'll teach me to cook. It won't happen, but
I'll cook for you.
I know she will. I love you. You owe me breakfast, actually.
Okay.
I'm leaving my house at 10 a.m. Anyway, that's Deanna. Thank you so much for tuning in to Still Can't Cook. Please subscribe, comment, follow me on Instagram. Keep these numbers growing. Where are you people? I'm so fucking fun. Yeah. Show up. Tell your friends. Repost.
She's really fun.
I'm really fun. She's not supposed to be talking because it's me going out. This is why watch your friends when you have a camera on. All right, thank you very much. Still Can't Cook. Peace. Hey guys, thank you so much for showing up for another episode of Still Can't Cook. Subscribe to us wherever you listen to your podcasts, on YouTube or any other podcast provider. And if you're on Instagram or TikTok, please follow us at Still Can't Cook. Love to have you guys back every week. So happy that you joined us and look forward to seeing you next week.